Democrats continue to win special elections in Republican districts. Case in point, a Democrat will now represent Palm Beach and thus Mar-a-Lago in the Florida state legislature. Trump won the district by 11 points less than 2 years ago. Emily Gregory picked it up. Democrats are celebrating that they are now 30-0 in flipping state legislative seats, a streak they argue signals real momentum. And if it wasn't a white-on-white graphic, you too would be able to read all of the House and state Senate districts that were flipped. It keeps going and going, something Republicans should be terrified of, as my friend Chris Cillizza pointed out.
The Senate District 14 and House District 87, these two in Florida, House District 87 is the Mar-a-Lago seat, are the 29th and the 30th legislative seats to flip from Republican to Democrat since Trump came back into office in January 2025. Want to take a guess at how many seats during that time have flipped from Democrat to Republican? A big, fat 0.
It's funny, during this whole time, Laurie Watkins here, former advisor for President Obama, has been dancing, and Republican strategist Annalise Keller has been awfully sedate.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Chris. I think there are concerns. Typically, when we talk about special elections, and I've worked on a lot of special elections, you tend to say things like, look, this is an isolated incident. This is a local race. You know, in this case, there was only, 800, 900 votes that differentiated the Democrat from winning. You like to point to those things because sometimes those special elections can be really wonky. But I think the pattern shows that there are concerning signs that Republicans need to wake up to and start doing a better job of messaging and drawing a contrast between what they can bring and what Democrats are looking to bring.
And Laurie's just sitting here still dancing.
No, no, I will dance all night. But
Please
yeah, so this Senate district, I know you're focusing on the House district because the most famous, constituent, Donald Trump, lives there and all. But that Senate District 14, this is really interesting for me because as a Floridian myself, who also worked as a caucus director to try to flip these houses back in 2020, this seat was vacated by Jay Collins to become the lieutenant governor. And this was like in September of last year. You usually pick a person to be the lieutenant governor in a seat that you think is pretty safe, right? So when the special election comes around, but that's not what happened this time. It was also won by a Democrat, Brian Nathan, which that was a 7+ Republican Trump won by, and now he took that as well.
This is why local knowledge is so important.
Yes.
Now, obviously, there is a lot of focus on the House seat because it is Mar-a-Lago, and this is now Donald Trump's state representative in the Florida House. And here she is this morning on Morning Joe.
As I'm looking back at your campaign, I don't see you talking a lot about Donald Trump, and maybe there's a lesson in that for a Democrat. Can you talk a little bit more about your strategy and how you handled Donald Trump and Republicans in Washington?
I think the key is to block out the noise. A race in an R+10 district, you have enough challenges and an uphill climb ahead of you, and it's about doing the work.
Not talking about Donald Trump. Is that the answer?
So, Leland, I pulled a clip. You can fact check me yourself. On January 10th, I came on your program, and Shelby Talcott was on, and I said, if Democrats, I will continue saying this till the day after the midterm election. I said, if Democrats solely run on just being in opposition to what Donald Trump is and what his administration is doing, I said they lose. And this is the strategy. She didn't do that. She made it about affordability, she made it about the economy, and she made it about the policies, and she won. She never talked about him. She didn't make him a focal point of her campaign at all.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's something to be said for not making this about Donald Trump, and I think Democrats could take that advice to heart and do a better job of actually standing for something, because where I see the Democratic energy is in the socialist wing of the party, and I think that's where Republicans need to do a better job of drawing that contrast. You have people like Graham Plattner in Maine, for example, who's rising to the top.
Is he the guy with the Nazi tattoo?
Exactly,
okay.
And the weird karaoke video that you don't watch that. So, those are...
Don't do karaoke.
It won't make you dance, it won't make you dance.
No, but there's a great point here, right? Which is that not only is it the candidates where there's energy, but it's also there's a lot of energy among elected Democrats to be extraordinarily anti-Trump, right? We're going to fight with Donald Trump. First up, Larry Krasner, the DA in Philadelphia, who is upset that ICE agents are now helping TSA agents.
To anyone who is an ICE agent, thank you for upholding the law and Constitution of the United States. But if you don't, you're going to find out.
Not sure what happened to that audio, but he threatened to have ICE agents at airports arrested. Next up, Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, who unveiled today a abolish ICE snowplow. This is a couple of days after an illegal immigrant who had been let out because of Brandon Johnson's policies and J.B. Pritzker's policies killed an 18-year-old girl at Loyola. Take a listen.
I look forward to seeing our city's pride, our spirit, and even, yes, our humor represent us again next year. And so with that, take a moment to, I guess, take in all that you all have been waiting for. This moment is finally here. The snowplow with the most votes, most entries, abolish ICE.
Laurie, isn't that a gift to Republicans?
Sure, and you know why I was offended by that? Because he said to be funny. The issue is not funny at all. And if Democrats are running on abolish ICE for the actions that they've taken and the aggression that they've taken, that's not funny. So your message is completely contradictory. And you're wasting your time. You're off message if you are doing stunts like this for, I don't know, likes and views on social media.
But it's different, though. There's a wing of the Democratic Party that Annalise pointed out that actually believes this works politically and is the right thing to do because Johnson was asked about this, right? Sheridan Gorman was killed by an illegal immigrant. Here you are doing this. Is this a good idea? Take a listen. Okay, we don't have that soundbite. He went on to say, the tragedy is not going to deter us from our work, and you are not going to politicize harm. He's going to double down effectively on protecting illegal immigrants.
Yeah, and I think what's so important, too, is not only is there this element of the Democratic Party that feels so strongly, but they're holding everyone else captive, because you're seeing in Congress right now that even sort of moderate Democrats are not funding Homeland Security. And I think that's a really big challenge that these Democrats need to come together and they need to get the government reopened. We're seeing these insane lines in TSA right now. And Republicans have done something that I cannot even believe that they've done. They've offered this deal to Democrats to fund a portion of the government and not fund ICE. That is a capitulation that, after having worked on the Hill, I never imagined seeing that.
That's the segment
and Democrats
coming up
are not taking that.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Well, but Annalise, I will say you even had Senator John Kennedy. When I saw this, I could not believe it in that Fox interview that he did, where he said, we had a deal, and Donald Trump told us to kill the deal and that we couldn't go forward for it and vote for it.
But that's the deal they're doing now. Trump is on board, and they've offered it to Democrats, and they've said no. They've moved the goalpost. So that's where we are now.
He continues to say that he doesn't want to make a deal and that this is a no-go.
That is coming up a little bit later in the show, ladies. Thank you very much.
Thanks.